Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen, Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Mawlana Muhammadin sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'd like to speak about a very influential lady by the name of Halima Sa'diyah, Sittina Halima Sa'diyah, the foster mother of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was the custom for the people of Makkah to send their babies to the Bedouin tribes in the desert at least until they are weaned. And as you know, the weaning period is 2 years. This would not only keep the babies safe from the epidemics which used to take place in the towns, it would also ensure they grew up with a healthy body and a healthy mind. They would also learn pure Arabic and be raised amongst the nomads before returning to their families. I think we should be doing this with our children. Others are spoiled. You know, the first thing they get is the iPhone. Subhanallah. Halima Sa'diyah radiallahu anha traveled with her family to Makkah in the year the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to be sent into the desert to be fostered. It was a difficult journey for her. It had been a year of drought, and her she-camel had no milk. And on that long journey, moreover, she was carrying her newborn son, who cried the whole night because Sittina Halima could not feed him because she had no milk in her breasts. And we think of the poor, inshallah, in our communities worldwide. Oh Allah, grant them ease, Ya Allah. Meanwhile, the donkey she was riding was so weak because the donkey was not eating as well. And they often kept the others waiting as they traveled to Makkah. There was a group of them. Sittina Halima was hoping to foster a child from a wealthy family that would be a huge help to her family. She said it was a year of drought and famine and we had nothing to eat. We had with us an old she-camel. We could not even get a drop of milk from this camel. That was their livelihood. Right? We could not even have a wink of sleep during the night, for the child was continuously crying on account of hunger. Allah. There was not enough milk in my breasts, and even the she-camel had nothing. We couldn't feed him. We used to constantly pray for rain and for immediate relief. At length we reached Makkah looking for children to suckle. Not one single woman amongst us accepted the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was offered. As soon as they were told he was an orphan, they refused him. And we had fixed our eyes on the reward that we could obtain from the child's father. An orphan? What are his grandfather and mother likely to do? So we rejected him because of that. All the women had collected other foster children. Sittina Halima still had no baby. She and her husband were poorer than their companions. So no one had entrusted their child to them. At the end of the day, a poor woman did not have a child to take back. And an orphaned child, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, did not have a woman to foster him, alayhi salam. Every woman who came with me got a baby to suckle, and we were about to depart. And I said to my husband, says Sittina Halima, I do not like to return along with other women without a baby. I shall go to that orphan, and I will take him. And he said, there is no harm in doing so, and perhaps Allah might bless us through him. So I went and I took him, because there was simply no other alternative left for me but to take him. When I lifted him in my arms and returned to my place, I put him on my breast. Remember, she had no milk? And to my great surprise, I found milk. He drank to his heart's content, and so did his foster brother. And both of them slept, even though my baby hadn't been able to sleep the previous nights. Subhanallah. Look at the barakah of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My husband then went to the she-camel to see if he can get some milk. And to his surprise and astonishment, he found it had plenty of milk. He milked it and we drank our fill and enjoyed a sound and peaceful sleep during the night. The next morning, my husband said, Wallahi Halima, you must understand that you have a blessed child. Subhanallah, how rightly so. Right? And I replied, says Sayyidina Halima, by the grace of Allah, I hope so. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Halima's decision to take in a fatherless child, despite being in desperate need herself, changed her life forever. Subhanallah. Her companions were apparently happy with the findings, but nobody knew that Sayyidina Halima was carrying a baby that was to become the greatest personality in human history. Subhanallah. He was gifted with blessings from the Almighty Allah. And it occurred instantly while he was even in babyhood. You could see. So now they're journeying home. When Sayyidina Halima al-Sa'adiyya mounted her donkey with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in her arms, she realized that the thin and weak animal that she had, remember that she-camel, was no old chori. She had come to Makkah, somehow had changed and was supercharged and was walking briskly now. Subhanallah. Barakah Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Such was their pace that they had even caught up with their friend who left Makkah a day earlier. And it was clear that they would not be left behind this time. Their friends were trying to understand how was it possible that they are not even showing any signs of tiredness, because the journey with a camel or a horse, for hours shows you tiredness. Right? While they themselves were exhausted from the journey, they were not tired. Barakah Nabi Muhammad. They called out to Sayyidina Halima, "Oh, daughter of the Zu'ayr tribe, what is going on with you? Were you not the one who always left behind when we came to Makkah? Or is this not the same donkey that you rode when we were coming to Makkah?" The now self-assured Sayyidina Halima answered with the joy of the grace she had been bestowed with, "I swear it is. It is the very same donkey I came to Makkah." And then she added, "I have verily chosen the most auspicious suckling baby ever." How true. They asked, "Is that the son of Abdul Muttalib?" And yes, there was true goodness in this event. Sayyidina Halima and Harith, who were always after good deeds, were now experiencing the goodness they had always hoped for. Right from the start, Sayyidina Halima and the tribe could clearly see the impact of the fostering of an orphan whom no one else wanted to accept. Right? Sayyidina Halima said, "We reached our tent in the Bani Sa'ad country, and I know of no place on Allah's earth more barren than that. But after we brought him, alayhi salatu wasalam, to live with us, my flock would come home to me filled with every evening full of milk. Subhanallah. We milked them and drank when others had not even a drop of milk. And our neighbors would to say to their shepherds, 'Go graze your flocks where they graze, where he grazes.'" Subhanallah. And yet still their flocks came home hungry, yielding no milk. While mine came well fed, with milk in plenty. And we continue to enjoy this increase and this bounty from Allah until the baby's 2 years had passed, and I weaned him. So when she first met Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Halima was hesitant to take him in. And how could she care for an orphan when she was herself so poor? And when she brought the blessed child home, she had a daughter named Shaima. And of course, remember we spoke about her suckling son was Abdullah. Shaima was about 5 years old. And she used to help her mother take care of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She would bath him and take him for walks and always embrace him with love. Shaima witnessed a change that happened in her family from poverty to comfort because of the blessings of this child. Subhanallah. She used to sing songs about him. This is Shaima. And say, "Oh, our Lord, keep Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam alive for us so that I can see him become an adolescent, then a leader. Suppress his enemies and those who are envious of him and give him everlasting glory." Subhanallah, look at that dua of a child. It was reported that Jibreel alayhi salam came down, as you know the story, ripped open his chest, took out his heart, extracted a blood clot from it and said, "That was a part of Satan in you." Then he washed it with the water of Zamzam in a golden basin, and after that the heart was joined together and restored to its proper place. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had instant heart surgery, very quick. I'm sure some of us would like that type of surgery. Subhanallah. The boys he had been playing with, when his playing mates came running to his mother, in other words, Halima, and said, "Verily Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has been murdered." Because they seen this. They all rushed to him and then they found that he was not. Only his face was a little bit white. That's subhanallah. The two men were angels who had come to wash the heart of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and purify him in preparation for him to bear the great message, the message of Islam. 2 years passed, and remember that's the weaning period. And in this manner, with visits to Makkah every 6 months, to keep touch with Sitina Amina, Nabi alayhi's mother, the pride of the universe had thus grown up. He was no longer suckling. The time had come that had been agreed upon, had come sooner than she thought. He was no longer suckling, and although they were reluctant to do it, they had to bring baby Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam back to his mother. It was very difficult for Sitina Halima to Sa'adiyya, who had become like a real mother to our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was as if her own flesh was being torn away from her. She wanted to keep him a little longer by her side, and this made her think to say the following to Sitina Amina. And she said, "I fear he may catch the Meccan plague, so let him stay with us for a little longer." Because there was a plague going at the time. So she made the offer to Sitina Amina, and this was a difficult thing to accept for Sitina Amina as his real mother. So she didn't think favorably of this offer at first. But on the other hand, the plague was really taking its toll in Makkah. And in order to protect him alayhi salatu wassalam, she accepted the offer, and happily the Harith family returned to the land of the Sa'ad tribe once again with baby Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is said that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam returned to Makkah when he was about 5 years of age, and he lived in the loving arms of his real mother, Sitina Amina, only for 1 more year. Because she took him to Medina to show him his parental relationship with the Bani Najjar tribe, but she died on her return journey at a place called Abuha. Now Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in the custody of his compassionate grandfather Abdul Muttalib, who brought the boy to Makkah. He had very warm feelings. I mean, if you're a grandparent, you know what your grandchild means to you. Okay? So his orphaned grandson, whose recent disaster, now his mother passes away, only added more to the pains of the past. Abdul Muttalib was more loving with his grandson than with his own children. He never left the boy a prey to his loneliness, but always preferred him alayhi salam to his own children. Ibn Hisham reports a mattress was put in the shade of the Kaaba for Abdul Muttalib, but his children used to sit around that mattress in honor to their father. But Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to sit on it, subhanallah. His uncle would remove him from that place. But if Abdul Muttalib was present, he would say, leave my grandson alone. I swear by Allah that this boy will hold a significant position. And he used to seat the boy alayhi salam on his mattress and pat him on his back. He was always pleased with anything that boy Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. When Nabi alayhi salam was 8 years, 2 months and 10 days old, his grandfather Abdul Muttalib passed away. Now the responsibility of taking care of the Prophet was now on his uncle Abu Talib, who was the brother of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's father. So Abu Talib took charge of his nephew in the best way he could. He put him with his children and preferred him over them. He singled the boy out with great respect and high esteem. For 40 years, Abu Talib cherished his nephew and extended all possible protection and support to him. His relations with others were determined in the light of the way they treated him, alayhi salam. In his Mukhtasar Sirat al-Rasul, Ibn Asakir, who said, I came to Makkah when there had been no rain for a year. Therefore, Quraysh said, oh Abu Talib, the valley has become barren and the children are hungry. Let us go pray for rain. Abu Talib went to the Kaaba with young Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who was as beautiful as the sun, and a black cloud was over his head. Subhanallah. Abu Talib and the boy alayhi salam stood by the wall of the Kaaba and prayed for rain. Immediately the clouds formed from all directions. They gathered and rain fell heavily and caused springs to flow and plants to grow in the town and in the country. Barakat Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was an incident of Bahira, the monk. When the Nabi alayhi salam was 12 years old, he went with his uncle Abu Talib on a business trip to Syria. And when they reached Busra, which is part of Syria, they met Bahira, who was a monk. This monk showed great kindness and entertained them lavishly. He had never been in the habit of receiving or entertaining them before. He readily recognized the Prophet ﷺ and said while taking his hand, this is the master of all humans. Allah sent him with a message which will be a mercy to all blessings. And Abu Talib said, how do you know this? Fair question. How do you know this? He replied, when you appeared from the direction of Aqaba, all the stones and trees prostrated themselves to Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the thing that never do except for a prophet. I can also recognize him by the seal of prophethood, which is below his shoulder. It looks like an apple, and we learned it from our books. You must understand, that time the Torah and the Injil was unadulterated, not like today. Bahira also asked Abu Talib to send the boy back to Makkah and not to take him to Syria for fear of the Jews. So Abu Talib obeyed him and sent him back to Makkah with some of his men servants. So there's so much to talk and share about his early life, subhanallah. But please encourage your children. But the lesson we learn is the story of hope. Remember I said from the start, Sidna Halima went with his husband with nothing. Right? A donkey that was lagging behind. When they adopted Nabi alayhi salam in babyhood, the donkey outran all of them. Subhanallah. That's Barakah Muhammad. High octane. Subhanallah. So the story of hope we learn is when you are generous towards others, Allah is even more generous towards you. Isn't that so? Subhanallah. Even though Sidna Halima was in a difficult situation herself, she decided to foster an orphan. And her husband specifically said, remember, perhaps Allah will bless us because of him. Remember, they had no idea that they were bringing up the best of creation in their homes. They simply hoped that they would be rewarded for their care towards a very vulnerable child. And this is because there is barakah in giving even in small amount of what you have to someone else. Whether you are sharing a single meal or assist an orphan, or you are giving hope, and Allah will multiply whatever you are given manyfold and many times. Allah has mentioned it so many times in the Quran. There are many hadiths which encourage helping out others when you are seeking Allah's blessings. Nabi alayhi salam says, charity does not decrease your wealth. Right? Don't you know, this is all I've got. Give. You see how Allah puts blessing in it. We are too stingy or we are scared because our iman is too weak. Give. You see. Clear. Whoever fulfills the needs of his brothers, says Nabi alayhi salam, Allah will fulfill his needs. And in another hadith, Ar-Rahimuna yarhamuhumur Rahman, irhamu man fil ard, yarhamkum man fis sama. The merciful will be shown mercy by the most merciful. Be merciful to those on earth, and the one in the heavens will have mercy upon you. Spend in charity, O child of Adam, and I will spend on you. That hadith al-Qudsi, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Allah says so. Spend, O child of Adam, Ibn Adam, and I will spend on you. May Allah, therefore, no matter how difficult our situation is, we can always reach out to help others, and in giving them hope, we will also be giving ourselves hope as we await for Allah's blessings to find us. May Allah grant us. Shukran for listening to my Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. محمد رسول الله.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. عباد الله اتقوا الله. قال الله تعالى في كتاب العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. وقال الله تعالى أيضا قل بفضل الله وبرحمته فبذلك فليفرحوا وخير مما يجمعون. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الراحمون يرحمهم الرحمن ارحموا من في الأرض يرحمكم من في السماء. وقال النبي عليه السلام من زار قبري وجبت له شفاعتي أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولوالدي ووالديكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
اللهم صل وسلم وزد وعلم وتفضل وبارك بجلالك وكمالك على سيد عبادك وأشرف عبادك سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله سيدنا محمد وصحبه وسلم ورضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن كل صحابة أجمعين.
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا كما أمر وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إرغاما لمن جحد به وكفر. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد الخلائق والبشر. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه مصابيح الغرر. عباد الله اتقوا الله. قال الله تعالى في كتاب العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. خصوصا منهم بالأصل الأريق أمير المؤمنين سيدنا أبي بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه، وعلى ذاهب الأواب الناطق بالصواب أمير المؤمنين سيدنا أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه، وعلى جامع القرآن أمير المؤمنين سيدنا عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه، وعلى أسد الله الغالب أمير المؤمنين سيدنا علي بن أبي طالب كرم الله وجهه، وعلى ولديه السيدين أبي محمد الحسن وأبي عبد الله الحسين رضي الله عنهما، وعلى أمهما فاطمة الزهراء رضي الله عنها، وعلى عمه المعظمين عند الله وعند الناس المطهرين من الدنس والأرجاس أبي أمارة الحمزة وأبي الفضل العباس رضي الله عنهما، وعلى تمام العشرة المبشرة صلاة وسلام دائمين متلازمين إلى يوم الدين رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفرة والمبتدعة والمشركين. اللهم انصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في فلسطين، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في كل مكان أينما كانوا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا يا مولانا يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم يتذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم واسألوه من فضله يؤتكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أقامها الله وأدامها وجعلنا من صالح أهلها. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله العظيم التواب الرحيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه ونسألك توبة ومغفرة وهداية لا إنه هو التواب الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير اللهم أعطنا إيمانا كاملا وأمانا دائما ورزقا واسعا وعقلا تاما وعلما نافعا وعملا صالحا وخلقا حسنا وأعطنا عزة وصحة وراحة وفرحة وقوة لعبادتك وأعطنا معرفتك يا الله بحرمة القرآن العظيم والنبي الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا يا مولانا يا أرحم الراحمين. قال الله تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون بخير دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم عن الحمد لله رب العالمين.